Most local commercial facilities are struggling because of population decline and aging demographics. Even supermarkets that people use daily are closing down, and the stores that relied on the supermarket to attract customers are also shutting down one after another. A negative spiral develops, and entire facilities often close. In places like Tokyo or Osaka, closed commercial facilities are quickly demolished and redeveloped. But in rural areas, it's not that simple. Often, when no next plan is set or rural areas face unique issues, these places are simply left unchanged. This abandoned commercial facility is another example. It closed 8 years ago and remains abandoned, with no decision on its use. It was once the city's main commercial facility. Many locals once visited, but now it's a negative legacy that can't be removed. Why did it close down in the first place, and why can't it be demolished? I'll introduce Sunmall Takasago in Takasago City, Hyogo Prefecture. I've arrived at Sanyo Electric Railway Takasa Station. It takes about an hour and a half, but you can also take a direct train to Umeda, Osaka's downtown. Takasago City, adjacent to Himeji City, reclaimed its coastal area during rapid economic growth and built various structures there. Factories of various companies moved in. It's Takasago City's main station, where even express trains stop. And yes, well, although other stations have more users, there was a time when commerce developed between the station and the factory, expecting demand from people working at the factory and their families. Now, in front of the station, there are some small shops lined up and a rotary has been set up. Less than a 5-minute walk from here, the remains of this trip's destination, the Sun Mall, are still there, so let's head over right away. We've arrived. No matter how you look at it, you can really feel the history. It's a complete ruin, by the way. Next to it is an izakaya called Hinata, now located in the Tanyo Credit Union building, which has stood since the Sun Mall days. Originally, the building was occupied by Lotteria. Let's take a look at the Sun Mall's website in the archives. It's treated as an annex, so only the annex remains and the rest has been closed. This website is from 2016, so it's about a decade old. The design is really outdated. Sanmoru Takasago is a commercial facility that opened in 1976, developed jointly by Mitsubishi Warehouse and Seiyu. The East and West buildings initially opened as 2 malls operated by Sanmoru Takasago. 2 years later, the South building opened, and after Sanmoru, an annex also opened. There were 5 malls in Sanmoru, and at that time, it was a very rare open mall-type commercial facility. Currently, only the West building and the annex remain. All the others have already been demolished. The gravel area by the West building was once the East building's location. There used to be a deck connecting the East building and the West building, but it's gone now. Of course, entry to the West building is prohibited. There are barricades set up. Maybe because it's an open mall, the aging is quite noticeable. It closed down in 2017, so by the time of this video, 8 years have passed and there were places where rain was leaking in. This is the floor map from back then. East, West, and South buildings each had up to 3 floors. The core of Sun Mall was located in the West building. The company, now headquartered in Fukuoka Prefecture, was called Seiyu. Trial Holdings now runs Seiyu. Previously, Seiyu was dismantled and was once a key company in the Seison Group. Mujirushi Ryohin, once on Sun Mall's 2nd floor and part of the Seison Group, is now more famous than Seiyu. Mujirushi Ryohin is more well-known, but it actually started as Seiyu's private brand. That's how it all began. It's like top value for Aeon. Aside from Seiyu, the others were mainly independent shops with some chains. There were 55 specialty stores total. There's a small plaza-like area in the facility's center. They used to hold events around here in the past. For some reason, only the stairs aren't blocked off, so I'll try going up to the second floor. The deterioration is really noticeable. If a facility goes unmaintained for 8 years and can't keep out the weather, this is inevitable. There shouldn't have been any rain for at least a week before the day of filming, but there are puddles everywhere, so the drainage isn't working at all. Takasago Heights, a 42-unit condominium, is attached to the west building. It's also for rent. A 3LDK 72 SQM costs 59,000 yen, very cheap. Due to the condominium, only the west building remains and couldn't be demolished. I'll explain more later. In the back, there used to be a parking lot for about 300 cars. Apparently, it could accommodate that many. After Sun Mall closed, it became a Times parking lot for a while, but now it's closed. Currently, it is not being used. This large area in front of the station remains unused and has often been discussed in the Kagoshima City Council. This direction indicator feels old-fashioned. You see things like this at old amusement parks too, right? I wanted to know which way Hawaii was, so this helped. Sanmoru Takasago reopened in 1976. Originally, the commercial facility here was managed by the city. Redevelopment had been planned, but surprisingly, it was opposed by a residents' movement, and the project was halted. Mitsubishi Soko took over the concept and carried out the redevelopment. In the past, residents' movements were more active than they are now, and large-scale projects often came to a halt. That's how it was. There are also many places where the construction of stations was halted due to opposition from residents. It was the first major commercial facility in Takasago City and nearby Kadokawa and Himeji. It became such a hot topic that customers from outside made up half of the visitors. By the way, the name Sun Mall comes from the 3 buildings, the East Building, West Building, and South Building. The name Sun Mall wasn't inspired by the 3 buildings, but by sun, meaning the sun. Back when it was open, there was a huge sun monument at the entrance. However, as several large commercial facilities opened nearby, the situation became a major crisis for the voice actors. In 2007, it nearly closed due to losses, but the voice actors' ownership of the land and building saved it. However, unprofitability remained unchanged. Losing 100 million yen annually, it closed at the end of 2015. The closure was due to a declining birth rate, an aging population, and low average customer spending near the station. That's right, the older people get, the less willing they are to buy things. They handle groceries, medical supplies, daily goods, and appliances. Opening as a general supermarket caused them an even bigger setback. Let me go back to the previous topic for a moment. Personally, I feel that open mall-type facilities are reaching their limits. They rose during the bubble and early Heisei era, but have now dropped significantly. Open mall-type facilities used to be mainstream. Even outlet malls are becoming completely indoor now. They feel open, but maintenance is difficult. It's hot in summer, cold in winter, and extreme weather is more common. Now open mall designs are being used. It's starting to lose its meaning. If Seiyu closes, Takasago Station will have no supermarkets, making things difficult for many local seniors. The city tried to attract a new supermarket because it would become quite inconvenient, but they couldn't find a successor. The layout, with the supermarket located deep inside from the station, was also a factor. Seiyu owned part of the 1st to 3rd floors, so the contracts and everything were probably complex, right? If they only sold groceries, the 1st floor would be enough, so the 2nd and 3rd floors weren't necessary. From Yu's view, using only the 1st floor leaves the 2nd and 3rd floors unused, which is wasteful. In May 2016, Mitsubishi Warehouse and Seiyu let go of the land and buildings, and they were sold to a company called Ask Planning. A year and a half later, at the end of 2017, Sun Mall Takasago was completely closed. Citing insufficient earthquake resistance, Ask encouraged the remaining specialty stores to withdraw. Did they ever intend to run a shopping center with all the tenants gone from the start? They probably planned to clear the site and redevelop it. The building lacked earthquake resistance, and while major construction was an option, the place had already declined from its initial momentum. Making improvements to the mall isn't realistic in terms of cost effectiveness. I'm not sure if I can say it went as planned. The south building was demolished in 2018, followed by the east building in 2020. Because of Takamori Heights, the west building hasn't been demolished. The fact that it's a buncho mansion makes demolition even more difficult. What if it's a modern mansion the size of Takamori Heights? Usually one company owns the whole building, with few exceptions. Except for the outside, you just need to have the residents wait, and demolition is relatively easy. However, Takahai has 42 units. In the mansion, there are simply 42 owners. Because it's a 50-year-old mansion, most of the owners are probably elderly, so negotiations for them to leave will be quite difficult. Also, considering that the demolition of the south and west buildings has already been completed, it doesn't seem like it's impossible to demolish the west building due to costs. If the land can't be used, Ask has no reason to buy it, so Kogo Heights is likely delaying demolition. Articles about the Sun Mall closure say negotiations with condominium owners are ongoing. Since Sun Mall lacks sufficient earthquake resistance, it's likely that Takasa Heights is in the same situation, and I hope the negotiations go well. From the owner's and tenant's perspective, aside from the property's age, there are few reasons to leave. There's a drugstore right next to the former Sun Mall site, and the station is also nearby. However, as things stand, Ask can't make use of the land. Right now, it's a huge piece of land being wasted with just a bank and one restaurant. However, I don't think Ask can afford to pay that much for people to move out, like building a complex building in the city. Since a large-scale redevelopment isn't planned, I think ongoing negotiations will be needed. As a commercial facility enthusiast, this abandoned building excites me, but it's not helpful for revitalizing the town. Near the station, you'll find Sun Mall and shopping streets. It was once a shopping street for commuters from the station to factories and locales, but it has declined with many vacant spaces. For example, here, there are impressive signs, but most of them have been turned into houses. Takasago Center Street feels frozen in the Showa era. It's such a precious site that it could be moved to a museum just as it is, and I hope it stays like this forever. These shopping streets are ideally located and convenient, but I heard they've lost customers to Sun Mall. Shopping streets lost to Sun Mall, which then lost to larger nearby commercial facilities. Eventually, the area in front of the station declined. Now, even looking at Kusaka City as a whole, the population is decreasing and aging, but it's gradual, isn't it? Due to the car-oriented society, the center of Kusaka City has shifted from the area in front of the station to along the national highway. This commonly occurs in rural areas, including Kusaka City. A redevelopment plan is set for the area in front of Kusaka Station. The documents state all shops in front of the station will be removed and the square redeveloped. And it seems they plan to build a condominium there. Although the Sun Mall site is not included in this plan, they kept in mind its connection to the redevelopment of the site. They want to improve the spaces and roads. They plan to begin construction by 2030. The city has also requested specific facilities for the former Sun Mall site. Here's the list. I think a supermarket is the basic plan, but other than that, a supermarket. You can only get to the public bath by car. It's common for this type of place, so I thought it was good. Factory workers would likely appreciate it too, since the commercial facility and apartment building are integrated. Buildings like this have always been common, both now and in the past, especially rental properties in prime locations near the station. Apartment buildings are fine, but old complexes would be demolished. Sometimes it's a big problem. Is that usually true? Sun Mall Takasago opened. There were few cases like this in the 1970s, but they've been increasing since around the bubble period. They built big buildings on expensive land, with apartments on top and stores below. The logic is clear. Building commercial facilities makes apartments more popular, and these facilities benefit both station users and residents by adding convenience. However, in some areas, this no longer works because of population decline and an aging, shrinking society. As I mentioned, Daiashiki Liber in front of Daiashiki Station in Hyogo Prefecture is an example. But when it declines, demolishing it isn't easy. That's the downside. There will likely be more cases where commercial facilities can't be demolished due to existing apartments, even if closure occurs. Similar situations may happen again in Takasago City. I hope negotiations with apartment owners progress and development occurs for this and other facilities. That's all for this video. See you again in the next one.